Alright guys, we're out here in the middle of the woods. As you can see, there's leaves on the ground. It's the middle of December. I just wanted to come out and cut some stuff out for my tree stand. I have this Stihl MS170 that I bought, and I've seen some other reviews online. In my opinion, the reviews were not, shouldn't say in depth, but they weren't really reviews in my opinion. And the reason why is, like, one of the reviews I saw on the saw was the saw's brand new. Actually, a couple of them were brand new. Never even chopped a stick of wood, and they're doing a review on it. So this saw, as you can see from it, we've been using this saw. We've had this saw for about 2 years, and we use this saw for what it's intended to do. The other videos that I saw is guys cutting 5, 6, 7, 8-inch logs with the thing, and it's really not designed for that. They don't really describe the saw, they just do that. So I just wanted to do a quick review because we have used this saw for about 2 years. We cut wood. We've been cutting wood since like 2006. We cut 4 to 8 cords of wood a year, and this is our limbing saw. That's what this saw is made for, limbing and getting yourself out of a jam. If you get your other saw stuck, you can use this saw to get out. You can do smaller stuff with it. For example, that tree right there in front of us, it's not going to have a problem cutting that. So just going to go over the features real quick, and then I'm going to get into what I think that you should actually know about the saw. And obviously the features are oil, gas. You can take your tool, stick it in there, but it also has the ridges to get that off. To adjust the saw, you loosen the 2 sides, and then you adjust the saw right there. So that's pretty fairly easy. On the back of the saw, you just turn that, and this hole slides off. And then you can get your spark plug, your air cleaner, and all that. Obviously, safety features are this has to be down to pull the trigger. That's pretty much for what most people do. But what I wanted to talk about more is the chain. Now, if you look at that chain, you can see how small that chain is. This is not a saw that's designed to cut wood all day long for heating your house or something like that. This is a limbing saw. Look how small the chain is. It's like, I guess they call it a micro chain. I think on the side here it says, that doesn't actually say, I mean, it tells you. It's a 0.043. Most of them are 0.5 and up. So it's a small chain. One of the disadvantages there's an advantage and a disadvantage to that small chain. One of the advantages is it's small, like a razor blade, so you can cut through stuff real fast. The disadvantage of that is, as like a razor blade, it gets dull quick. So you got to be careful. This chain needs to stay sharp. If you do not have this chain sharp, you're not going to like the saw. It's a small engine. It's 30 cc's, so it doesn't have a ton of power. So if you're cutting bigger stuff, you're going to start cutting through. The first couple cuts are going to be real nice, but after that, it's going to start dulling that chain, and then it's really going to start working, and it's going to start bogging out. And this is all from experience. We've done this, so we kind of know, you know, what it does. So yeah, definitely keep the chain sharp. If you don't keep the chain sharp, you're not going to enjoy this saw at all. If you keep the chain sharp, it's going to cut little stuff, like little saplings, trees, limbs for around the house, stuff like that real quick. So, and then the other feature that they have here that I really don't care for is the choke. My other saw, you pull the choke out, you start the thing, it fires, you run it, you push the choke in, and you're done. This one here, you go down to the run, and then you got to pull this and go down. Now the choke is on. Then once the thing pops, see, it doesn't do anything. So you have to pull the trigger to get it down onto the choke. Then once it pops, you have to take your finger and push it back to that position. Then once it warms up a little more, then you do it that way. So what happens is this thing's just plastic. There's just a little arm in there that goes to your carb. People put that down, they get it to fire, they push this up to the second position where it idles, you know, warms up a little bit. Then they want to push this up a little farther. Well, you can't. You have to pull the trigger to get it to go back to the run position, which doesn't make sense to me, because you have to pull the trigger to get it down into that position, but then you can push it up one, because see, it won't go up on its own. You got to push it up one into that position, then you got to pull the trigger to get it to the actual run position. That's one feature I don't like about the saw. If you run a normal saw which just has the pull choke, you pull the choke out, you start the saw, you put the choke back in, and then you're ready to roll. So if you run another saw for a while, then you come and jump on this saw, I've already popped that off and I had to take the cover off and re-put the pin in. A lot of people break these though, you know. So it doesn't make sense where you got to hold this in to put it down. Then when it fires, you can push it up. Then you can't push it up anymore. Then you got to push the trigger again to get it to go to the run. So other than that, once you get used to that feature and you keep the chain sharp, this saw does exactly what it's supposed to do. It cuts smaller stuff. It cuts stuff like the tree that we previously showed you right there. We're going to cut stuff like that. It limbs. It gets you out of a jam. If you get your saw caught into a tree, your other saw, you can cut this out with this saw. So it does what it says, but you just got to keep it sharp, and you got to, you know, have some common sense. You're not going to come out here and cut 6 and 8 inch logs all day with it, because it's just not going to do that. And in the other reviews I saw, like I said, they reviewed the saw that's never touched a stick of wood, and they had big, you know, 6-8 inch logs, and they're setting timers and cutting, you know, these logs with timers so you can see how fast it cuts, but it's not made for that. So I wanted to give an honest review because I didn't see no real honest reviews. So we're gonna go ahead and start it up. There is no primer on it. My other saw has a primer. You primer it, but there is none here. So you put the choke on, like I said, and then it's really cold out here, so there it goes. So it popped. So now that it popped once, I put it up into the second position. It's really cold out today. All right, I'm gonna pop it back down into the other position. Do that to get it off the high idle there. You can't just push it up. You got to pull the trigger. Even though you got to pull the trigger to push it down, it kind of doesn't make sense why they did that. But then we'll just cut some stuff so you can see. So you see stuff that's that size and, you know, a little bit bigger and stuff, it's going to cut real nice. One thing it is nice about this saw is it's light. It is light. It's got good balance to it. It's a real good saw. What we use it mainly for is I fell the tree. Smite comes along. He delimbs it with this saw. As he's delimbing, I'm cutting. And it makes a big difference. And then if I get the saw stuck, he comes along and cuts the saw out. So there you go. There's your review of it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Push the like button. I'll answer any questions I can. Have a great day.